Hi everybody, Aonghus McAnally here from OTT Wrestling. I've been asked to answer a few questions for you guys, so that's what we're going to do. Let's get straight into it. Question number one, what got you into wrestling commentary? Essentially, I was knocking around the scene with OTT for a while. I had come along as a fan in the very early days, had met Joe Cabray, the owner and booker, and after that, very quickly, I had hired Joe in to work with me with my own theatre company, Rise Productions, to put together fight sequences on some of the plays that we were producing. And I was coming along as a fan, and we had a friendship going on. And then the VOD service launched. And at first, it launched without any commentary, and I really felt that it would benefit from having a bit of commentary there. And I got some advice from Jerry Humperdinck, to say that if you wanted to do it, rather than try and pitch the idea, just present it to Joe as a fait accompli. So myself and a man that goes by the name of Don Marnell, who were great mates, decided, okay, well look, I'm an actor and a voiceover artist, you're a stand-up comedian and radio host. We also are massive fans of wrestling generally and OTT specifically with the knowledge of the product. I think we could offer them something here. So we put together a demo, which has now been released on the VOD, that we put a 2-match demo together. And the rest, as they say, is history. We showed it to Joe. He bought it straight away and said, yeah, we'd like to have you on board. And that's kind of how I broke in. It's funny, I'd been knocking around the pro wrestling scene a little bit a long time before that, when Fergal Devitt, Finn Balor and Paul Tracy opened the first school in Ireland back in 2002. I was the first trainee through the doors, never with any intention of being a worker as such, but I was just finishing up drama school training at the time. So having spent 3 years training to be an actor and doing a whole lot of physical theatre work and dance work and movement work, I just thought it'd be really interesting to try out working in the ring and telling stories physically that way. So I trained with them for a few months at that stage, and then when I started back with OTT, I trained for a couple of months again, never with any intention of getting in the ring to be a worker. But it gives you an added insight as a commentator if you know what it is to bump, if you know what it is to spar, if you know what it is to be in a fight and call those moves accurately because you've been in them and you know how much they hurt. Question number 2, who was your inspiration to commentate in wrestling? I think I try and have my own individual style as much as is humanly possible, but you know, you can't get away from the sound of what we understand pro wrestling commentary to be. So the voices of Jim Ross those voices are always there. I mean, for me, it's Gorilla Monsoon really is the one that I'd look up to mostly. The Jesse Ventura, the Bobby Heenan style stuff, I'm a huge fan of, just like adore those guys. But that's not me. I'm not that quick-witted. I'm not that funny. I stick to the traditional, play-by-play guy, just calling things down the middle for the most part. And so yeah, Gorilla Monsoon maybe be the real benchmark for me. Bit of JR in there too. I just love storytelling, and it's the great storytellers that kind of speak to me. Question number 3, my favourite match of all time is Taker versus Triple H with Shawn Michaels as special guest referee from Mania 28. It's a time that I was kind of getting back into watching a bit of wrestling, having not watched much at all for a number of years, and we kind of discovered by accident that there was this small underground cell of Irish actors who were massive pro wrestling fans, kind of knocking around rehearsal rooms and theatres around Dublin, kind of going, hang on, did you say you like wrestling? I like wrestling too. Hey, can we be wrestling friends? And so around that time, we'd started kind of gathering together for WrestleMania each year to hook up, have a few pints, and watch the show. And it was just a match that I went into not looking forward to at all. They'd done it the previous year. I was going, why are they doing this again? No one needs to see this. I'm not going to do anything new with it. And then they did the match and completely captured me, and I bought it hook, line and sinker and just adored it. Adored the drama of it, adored the story of it. And there's a brilliant moment in it, if you listen very carefully as you watch the show back, as Taker goes for the pin, you just hear him say, "Thank you, Paul," as the referee counts 3. And just that idea of the camaraderie, the cooperation, the teamwork in telling that story. Two guys with massive respect for each other. I adore it as a match. It's a really special one for me. Favourite wrestler of all time? Jesus, that's a tough one to narrow down. Because I'm as old as I am, my standout guys are the Mr. Perfects, the Jake the Snakes, the Ted DiBiase's of the world. More recently, obviously, I'm a huge Jordan Devlin fan. I think Scotty Davis is the future. I think the women that we have here in Ireland are, just next level elite stuff. Obviously, you see the international success of people like Session Mott and Valkyrie and all that, but just we are blessed to have a huge cohort of really talented fighters here at the moment. And yeah, you can't go past the question like that without saying Joe Cabret as well. That Luther Ward character I was so into, man. Hook, line and sinker. You talk about the early foundational days of OTT. That man bought me in completely. My main goal for wrestling commentary is kind of just to keep doing what I'm doing. I get to have the best seats in the house for some of the best wrestling in Europe and the world all the time. I really enjoy working for OTT. I'm able to balance it with my other work in theatre and film and stuff. So it's a nice little situation for me. The golden rule in pro wrestling is that you'd never say never. So if there was a situation where Vince or Cody or something came with a contract, I'd read the contract and see what I thought of it. But I think for the moment, I'm really, really happy doing what I do. And so my main ambition is to get back into that stadium with 2,200 rabid Irish wrestling fans and just rip the roof off the place when we're finally allowed to do this all again. Was there any time that you wanted to give up commentating on wrestling? Not really. It's been a very happy ride for me. I get spared a lot of the hassles of it, and that I don't have to bump in the ring every night. I don't get much online abuse that some workers do. I just get to, like I said, sit in the best seats and watch some of the best wrestling. So it's been, all in all, a very happy journey for me. I don't plan on quitting anytime soon. Next question, number 7. What is your favourite match that I've got to call? That's a tricky one because there's been some really special ones. You think back to getting Ospreay Ricochet in the Tivoli. That was pretty special. The infamous 5-man, 6-man as just like the quintessential OTT match. Like, just going, if you wanted to go, how do you describe OTT in one match? It's the 5-man, 6-man. And then more recently, this run of Jordan Devlin matches with kind of Walter and Starr. It's been, it's just a real privilege to be part of that. It's one of those feuds that people talk about now as kind of being, the best in the world or one of the best in the world. And I do think it's one that'll stand the test of time. I regularly go back and rewatch some of those matches, and it's just great pro wrestling. So getting the opportunity to call those, that's been pretty special. Next up, how am I dealing with the isolation? I'm getting there, I guess. It's tough on all of us. I'm fortunate enough that I've 2 kids here in the house that kind of keep me occupied, and we live right on the beach here in Portmarnock, so I get down the beach most days, get a bit of fresh air at a safe social distance, so we can run the kids around. They're not getting too bored, and it kind of gets me out of the house. It's tough for me because like a few of us in the world of Irish pro wrestling, I don't have a day job. My day job is being an actor and being a director and a producer. So there's no office gig 9 to 5 where I can still cash a paycheck working from home. If I don't have an arena or a stadium or a theatre to perform in, there's no money coming in the door. So, I'm lucky enough that I'm doing okay. I've got a bit of a cushion there, a bit of a safety net, and I can still do a bit of voiceover work recording from home. So I think I should all be fine. And we're getting on grand. The family's doing well, and, I'm very fortunate that we've got family nearby that I can look after as well. So I think all in all, I'm doing as well as I can be. Your heart goes out to all the people who are actually dealing with the illness or dealing with loss from it. It's got to be a really, really tough time, but thankfully I'm doing okay out of it. Next up, any advice for anyone wanting to start wrestling? Yeah, it's real straightforward. Start wrestling. Just do it. It's the CM Punk DIY punk rock attitude. Go and make it happen. Grab it by the scruff of the neck. Don't wait till you're in shape before you go training. Get in shape while you're training. If you want to be a commentator or a referee or an announcer, look at the people who do that best. See what it is that makes them brilliant. Try and emulate that and try and do your own thing too. There's so many ways into the business at the moment. It's never been a better time. Go for it. And so the final question here is top promotions. This is going to sound like a bit of a cop-out, but OTT, it's the one I watch the most. I watch more OTT than I watch anything else. What I like to do, because I'm on duty when the matches are happening first time around and I'm calling them, I do like to go back and re-watch the VOD to watch it just as a fan and let it wash over me. I watch a huge amount of the stuff back. I love it. I love the style of wrestling that we have at OTT. I love the mix, I love the variety. So OTT would be number 1 for me. WWE then, of course, they're the world leader and they're the ones that got me into it in the first place. That'll be another one that I still watch a fair amount of. And then kind of historically going back, it would be the world of sports stuff. Back on ITV the Saturday afternoons, back in the day, I'm old enough to remember the big daddies and the giant haystacks of the world. So that would have been the style that I would have been watching as well as a kid breaking into it. So kind of those 3 would be the standout ones for me. So look, guys, that's it. That's the 10 questions here to be answered. It's been a pleasure answering them for you. I hope that's some entertainment or some insight into me and kind of taking your mind off things at this tough time at the moment. So remember, stay in, stay safe, wash your hands, and I look forward to welcoming you all to the next big OTT show when we finally get out the far side of this. I've been Aonghus McAnally. Thanks for tuning in.